In the 4 years before the Nile River in Nubia began to form a lake, the Oriental Institute sent out emergency expeditions. One of the expeditions worked south of Abu Simbel near the Sudanese border under the direction of Egyptologist Dr. Keith Seeley.
This skeleton was from the period of about 3200 BC. As to why the woman had such a lot of jewelry on one arm and only one on the other is to have been her habit in life. That she probably wore her bracelets on one arm and in mass and only one on the other arm. And at the time of her death, she probably was buried very much as she had been in life.
Man had lived in a green strip along these shores for thousands of years. His tools, his pottery, his graves were buried, archaeologists knew, in hundreds of known and unknown places. Could any of these things be found and excavated before they were swallowed up by the new lake? And what could they tell?
From the skull, we can see from the suture closure that it is an adult. From the general size and architecture of the skull, it looks quite male, and the brow ridges are heavy, the mastoids are heavy, the occipital area shows good sites of muscle attachment, all of which are male traits. So, taking everything together, we can say here that we have an adult skull, which is a mixture of Mediterranean Caucasoid and Negroid.
It has happened that the pots that we took out of the graves were in a very fragile condition. They were even cracked, but still holding together. But just in the action of lifting them, when they no longer had the support of the earth in which they were resting, as one would take one of them into his hands, they simply would give way and collapse.
An expedition such as this one requires men to do the arduous work of digging, with skilled Egyptian foremen whose families are now in their 4th generation as professional diggers. The expedition requires Egyptologists who know where to look for cemeteries and how to describe and interpret pottery, a photographer, a government official from the Antiquities Department, an anthropologist who can analyze skeletal materials. The expedition requires general assistant archaeologists, some of whom are often students. The architect's surveys and the precise drawings he makes in his room in the houseboat are necessary to the future publication of the expedition's discoveries. Indeed, the details are persistent and seem all